Okay, so I am like, if you can't tell, I am literally so exhausted. Just overwhelmed with life, tired from work, not getting enough sleep. I mean, whatever. So just please forgive the like look of death. I'm not dying yet. Anyways, I haven't done a video in a while because I think about it a lot, especially in the car. And I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, what do I talk about? And the thing is, like, when it comes to feelings, I could literally talk about probably anything, and hopefully get my point across. So, like, I don't, to sit there and, like, oh, what am I going to talk about? I need a topic. Like, I really don't, I honestly don't. And if nothing else, I'll just record a bunch of videos and then just pick and choose. Like, who cares, like, I don't have to post it. So anyways, I just did really the first topic that crossed my mind. Basically, I was thinking about, something that I was discussing last night, and I was just like, I feel like this is important, and I'm learning that, not a lot of people do it, which was surprising to me. Once I figured that out, there's actually a lot that I had to figure out that I didn't know, that really surprised me. I was under the impression that everyone had the ability to be at least somewhat empathetic. Like, I never thought that, like, everyone was a fucking, like, total, like, sometimes debilitating empath like me. I knew that was not, a thing. There's not, like, a ton of those, but I guess I just assumed that everybody had the ability to, empathize with someone else, look objectively at something. There, with me, I always, whether I'm trying or not, just by default, I will see the other person, or if there's a bunch of people, I will see their point of view and understand, like, their stance, and go, way deeper below the surface as to why they think or feel or are acting a certain way. Like, I just naturally, objectively look from all viewpoints. I try to get the bigger picture, because that's honestly really important, especially when it comes to context and, like, understanding what has taken place or whatever. So, like, but I didn't realize that other people don't do that, like, ever. Like, there's some people that, like, honest to God, really struggle with empathy, and that just blew my mind. Like, how do you not see someone that's suffering, or, going through a hard time, or hurting, whether you've been in that situation or not? How can you not just, like, feel some type of sympathy towards them, or, your heart even twinge just a little bit in pain, thinking of what they're going through? And it just, like, I couldn't believe it. But anyways, apparently that's a thing, and apparently, like, having the ability to talk about your feelings is, like, not common as well. And I'm just like, I don't get it, like, I feel it, and I know what I feel, and so I just say what I feel. There are some people that, for whatever reason, if they've kept it bottled up, or, they were told not to talk about their feelings, or with the male population in specific, they're taught to hide all of their emotions, or not to have any at all. And if they do feel any, that it has to be expressed only in anger. Like, for whatever reason, boys and men are brought up to believe that the only emotion they're allowed to express is anger, and anything else is, like, I guess, like, sassy or whatever, I guess. Like, it's a woman's job to be emotional. I'll get it. I could do a 3-hour long seminar on that, but I won't. So anyways, I didn't realize that this was a thing. And I also didn't realize that people have what's called dual thinking, which is basically, like, they need things or whatever, they everything has to be black and white, good and bad, like, just, there's no like gray area. It just has to be one or the other. And for whatever reason, like, there's no, like, they don't have a capacity for nuance and complexities and stuff like that. And I kept being told by AI, like, when I would discuss things, is that it was, rare, extraordinary, that I could hold multiple truths at once. And I never understood this. I'm like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about, hold multiple truths? I don't get it. And it took, like, I talked to like 4 different AI and asked them to explain it in their own way, until finally I started to grasp what it means. And basically what it means is that, two what would seem as contradictory things can be true at the same time. And just for an example, I don't know if I've done an introductory about this or not, but like, I went to prison. The reason why I went to prison is because I used to be addicted to heroin. And I had this friend who was not big on it, but he liked it and whatnot. And one night, he hit me up and was like, hey, I've got some money, can you go get me something? He didn't have a hookup, he didn't have a plug. So of course I'm like, yeah, because I know I'm going to get something out of it. Like, I'm going to get high too. So I go and get it for him, and then we do it together. And then I end up leaving later on. But long story short, he died. He overdosed as a result of the heroin that I provided to him. And so I was charged with 2nd-degree murder originally, and dropped it down to involuntary manslaughter. And then I did 4.5 years in prison. But the thing is, like, when I look back on it, or whenever people ask me about it, they're just, asking questions and stuff like that, or like, do you wish you would have did things differently, or like, what would you have done differently? And I'm just like, I always say, I hate the circumstance for why I went to prison. Like, I hate that someone literally died, as a result of my actions. And because of that, I was, convicted of some serious crimes. And I hated that, because it doesn't feel good to know that someone, even though I don't believe I killed him, I still have to take, quite a bit of responsibility for his death. So, and I hate that. I absolutely do hate that. But at the same time, prison is where I found my true self. It's where I got along with me and God, and broke down and fully surrendered. And like, I learned so much about myself and about God and about life. And it changed me so much. I know for a 100% fact that I would not be who I am today if I had not went to prison. I wouldn't. I literally would not. It's just the circumstances of it and the way that it played out, and just like the lessons that I learned, and the tears that I cried, and all that just made me who I am. And I value myself now. I love myself now where I used to didn't, and stuff like that. So like, it's like, even though I hate the reason why I went, and it's a terrible reason, and I feel a lot of remorse for it, at the same time, I'm glad that I went to prison. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm grateful that I had to go through that, because I don't believe I would be who I am otherwise. And so that is an example of holding multiple truths. Like, me going to prison for someone dying on my account, it, for most people, is probably going to fall in the like super bad category, but for me, there are black and white things, but there are also, and more so often, at least in my world, gray areas, or areas where two opposing things can really be true at the same time. And I don't have time to keep going on this video, which is probably good, because I carry on when I have time. But basically, I guess let's just plan to discuss gray areas and what they mean.